Hi, this is Joelle, and I am the Viberarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower. And this is something that I'm doing inside and then sharing with the external world. For those of you that are resonating with my messages and the things that I'm sharing, we are definitely part of the same good vibe tribe. And I just thank you for being here. This is an In the Cards reading. Now, In the Cards is a series that I have where I go in depth with oracle or tarot decks that I have in the Vibraries card collection. I have, I think at last count, over 75 decks, and I enjoy decks as a divination tool, and I think there are a lot of beautiful ways that we can connect with spirit for conversation through all of these amazing creations that are available for us right now to purchase and use for our spiritual growth. So I am in the middle of, I guess, a very lengthy activation that is involving Lemurians and Pleiadians and galactic activations. This summer, I took a group to Mount Shasta in California, one of the chakras of the planet. It is a place that is full of vortices and grids, and it was a huge, huge energetic experience for everyone who went on the trip. And so it was mid-July, and you can check back on some of the previous videos to see all of the things I've shared about the adventures that we had. But right before we left, I actually received this deck. I had ordered it, the Galactic Heritage Cards. I'd seen some readers using it before, and my sister friend Soul Whisper, Ejirba, she had actually done a reading for me at one point with these cards, and I found them very interesting. So on the plane over to California from Atlanta, I was reading through the materials and then just uh, looking through the cards, and normally I don't do that because I want to see the image fresh at the time of having the spiritual conversation. But one thing that I understood then after reading the materials in this book is that it was really an illustration of the galactic story of all the star nations. And so to really be able to understand the way that the tool is laid out, I was not going to necessarily be intuiting at the initial point the answers, because I don't know a lot about the galactic story or stories. There are lots of versions of about who we are and how we've got to be here, who the star races were, who the good guys, the bad guys were. There's all kinds of narratives that you can really begin to hear once you start asking, who are we really? So this is a perspective. The author of this book here channels, has been channeling since 1985. The author is Lyssa Royal-Holt. And she says she's been channeling since 1985, and the beings who work through her are Sasha from the Pleiades and Germain, a multidimensional group consciousness that represents the integrated energy of our galactic family. Now, the way that this Germain is spelled is Germane. Now, Saint Germain, who is maybe familiar to more people who are watching, is one of the ascended masters in energies, the keeper of the violet flame, and the transmutational energy that that ray and that flame holds here on the planet. And so interestingly, Mount Shasta is closely linked to Saint Germain, and we actually had various amazing encounters with Saint Germain energy while we were touring the vortexes and tours. Our guide was Paul Venus, and he was amazing, and a lot of the information that he shared was directly revealed through his own journey and work with Saint Germain and the violet flame in his own life. And again, sharing that experience with those of us then by guiding us up into the mountains and telling us and sharing with us the sacred medicine that is available. And so I found it interesting because I'm on my way to Mount Shasta, having no idea that I'm going to be encountering Saint Germain in such a real way. And then reading about reading materials is brought through a being consciousness structure by the name of Germain. It's those kinds of repetitive synchronicities are so delightful, really, because it brings a spark of magic. Because I don't believe in coincidence, right? So it makes it very magical to see all of these things coming in. So some of the things that we encountered, one of our party saw Pleiadian light ships in the early morning coming over Mount Shasta, and it was something that she had requested to experience. And so being able to get affirmation of that connection and being able to communicate between those realms was very real for all of us as we were experiencing it. And in my last reading, I just spoke about connecting with the Pleiadian inner frequencies. And there's just so many beautiful things that are available any given moment. This evening, I'm having an Akashic record reading with Todd Bryson of Modern Galaxy here on YouTube. And it was a gift that I received for my birthday. It's also a gift that I gifted for my birthday. So my best friend and I did a little exchange. We had the same idea about each other, helping to gift each other with the gift of awareness, more aspects of self. So the Pleiadian energy and the Lemurian connections to the Pleiadian energy, those have been tied and revealing themselves in a new way to me through all of these interconnected messages that are coming through. So I wanted to take today to go ahead and do this in the cards. Because it seems like there's a galactic conversation that's wanting to happen. So as I said, this deck is very, very interesting. I've only done a couple, looks through it. It's a lot of information to absorb. Let me share with you what is written from, channeled from Germain as to who the Pleiadians are. And it says it's an extremely significant civilization connected to Earth. The short story is that in ancient days, a group from Lyra wanted to escape the conflicts in the Lyran system. They colonized Earth. This was in ancient times when humans were still primitive. This particular colony settled in what is now Northern Europe. They lived for many generations. However, they had a little bit of trouble adapting to Earth's environment. So they took a bit of DNA from a primitive man and incorporated it within themselves. This helped them adapt to the atmosphere and gravitational and magnetic fields. Once they made these alterations, which were very slight, they really settled there. This was their home. They had children. They built their lives there. But then the wars going on in the heavens came to this solar system, and finally they came to Earth. This group was devoted to peace. We can call them Earth Lyrans. They could not stay on Earth during the wars. It was a very hard decision for them. Eventually, they left. They went looking for another home. Eventually, they settled in the area of the Pleiades. Then they became the Pleiadians. Take a look at their genetic line. They were Lyran with Earth DNA. This is how the Pleiadians started to build their connection with Earth. Pleiadians have two genetic lines primarily. One is Earth Lyran DNA and one is pure Lyran DNA. Since those ancient times, Earth has called to the Pleiadians. Throughout history, Pleiadians have interacted with Earth. They really are your cousins. You will see many Pleiadian cards in the deck. So many of their lessons are yours as a species as well. All right, so that's very interesting. Like I said, there's a lot of information in here that is a narrative of the understanding of Earth's history from the perspective of these beings that we're channeling through to the author. And the art is very interesting, as you will see. I am going to switch over to do a card focused show for the cards that I choose today. I actually have not shuffled the deck yet, but you can see here that they are, I always like to show you the sturdiness of the cards. These are very sturdy stock. They're not super thick, and there are 108 cards in the deck. So they are numerical at first, and I think the way that, from what I'm understanding, it talks about the lower, middle, and higher consciousness or experiences of each of these star races or energies. I think that's the simplest way, and I may be incorrect. So if any of you are using this deck and would like to contribute, please do in the comments, let me know. But so we start with, a card 1, as you can see from here. It's really a beautiful rainbow of cards. So I can't wait to go ahead and shuffle them up because I haven't done that. So after I do that, and I have already, however, blessed the cards, cleared and blessed the cards, and aligned my energy with the deck to use for the highest good and service of love and light for any readings and guidance that comes to them. And I would advise you to do something similar with the decks that you get. So I'm excited to see what messages want to come out. I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'll do that in the next section, and then stay tuned because I do expect to post about the results of the Akashic record reading that I will be receiving later today. So I'll be right back. All right, as I just started to tape this, it is 3:33 where I am, which is all about the vibration of the Ascended Masters and balance in mind, body, and soul. Spirit is beautiful, the Trinity energy here. So I am here for In the Cards, and today this is the Galactic Heritage deck by Lyssa Royal-Holt. And I love this because actually Holt is one of my family lineage names. So I love that this is about lineage and there's actually a literal lineage connection here for this deck. So it's a rather complex system, as you see. Oh, it's like a keyhole or portal as well. This is what the back of the cards look like. As I mentioned before, they are a very sturdy deck. It's an interesting waveform and fractal. We have both feminine energy of fluidity and masculine energy of linear connection, and then waveforms, and looks like honeycomb and the vortex. It's just all kinds of activation just even in the back of this. So I am going to give the cards. I've shuffled several times to go ahead and begin to work the deck. And as I mentioned before, I already blessed and prepared my deck. And in just this moment, I'll just call in a high vibration frequency so we can see what are the messages from beings of love and light that are unconditionally loving and truthful and that are for our highest good in this now moment. All right, let us shuffle and see. I'll draw 2 cards for this and we will experience this together. A Galactic Heritage card. I'm very curious to see if we get Pleiadian energies to come through because that's been very present. And what other star races are we going to learn about? Many of us are coming online with new abilities and new guides, so I'm assuming that this is going to speak to that as well. One more shuffle. Now we take the top and bottom card after the cut. this card and this card. All right. From the Galactic Heritage Cards. All right. Let us see. Mental transformation. Sirius, the future. All right, look at this. This is 13, so this is again transformation for literal sense would be the death card in tarot, 13, Scorpio as well, the Phoenix, all of the energies of regeneration, of death and rebirth. So in just kind of looking here at what I can see in these images, it does look almost like a frog or a salamander. There's a bird-like being with wings. Almost looks like a vulture even. Looks like there's fish. It's very, very interesting. Definitely I see eyes. And yellow and orange speaks to me of our sacral creative space, our imagination, and what we view and think and envision. And then the yellow, the solar plexus of how we bring those visions to life, the energy behind those seeds that propels them into blossom and manifestation. So let's see what we have here under mental transformation. This is going to be then the energy of where the Syrians are going. So I'm assuming this must be speaking to that aspect within us as well. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Let's see if we can focus on the card. All right. I'm going to need both hands, I can already tell, because this is, okay, that and having trifocals, glasses, you know, we have to hold things differently sometimes. Okay, so serious. Beliefs, habits, and mental attachments cause most of the distress that we experience as humans. Sometimes we don't even realize we have them. Now that we are making a planetary transition, it requires us to let go of these obstacles to true awakening. Our future serious friends who have released these obstacles can help us with this because they provide loving guidance to help us navigate this transition. This card asks you to be truthful about your limiting beliefs and habits, even the positive ones, and open yourself to new and flexible ways of thought and being. Okay, all right, challenge and renewing of a new mind. The commentary says, this card accesses energy from the Syrian era. Let's see if we can bring that into better focus. Of the Syrian era after they became an awakened species and transcended to a non-physical fifth density state. The Syrians from this era are a great model for humans because when they were young, their species had many of the same challenges that plague humans now. One of these challenges is that humans are often their own worst enemies because of their destructive thought patterns that continually sabotage spiritual growth and the transformation of the planet. When the Syrians were able to transcend their destructive mental patterns, they were able to make their planetary transition with ease. If this card is in your spread, look to the other cards as well as your life circumstances for future clues. The meaning may have to do with a needed transformation that must take place in your thought and belief patterns in order for you to make a shift. Conversely, the card may be acknowledging that you have made this shift and are ready to move into a new level of growth. Self-honesty will be needed in order to know which of these options or another is correct. It is quite possible that guides, accurate, not correct. So self-honesty will be needed in order to know which of these options or another is accurate. It is quite possible that guides from this serious era are working with you in your growth. If you feel this is the case, open yourself even more to the wisdom they can share with you. Do not fear this change, for freedom always comes from this type of mental transformation. And this is on page 133. All right, beautiful. So we are having a renewal of our mind. It's so interesting because it's like you don't know what it is until you have an opportunity to get outside of the way you think about it. Like you can't, what do they say? You can't fix a problem with the same thinking that got you there. So we are not reworking the old systems that got us to where we are. We are creating new systems that will not be just a recycling at a higher frequency. It is going to be completely transformed. And we're doing that by letting go of our mental frameworks. Okay. Very, very interesting. I definitely received this guidance and advice to allow my mind to be expanded. All right. Now let's see what we have here for the other card. Ooh, belief systems. Oh, I have to laugh. Okay. And it's an 8, belief systems. Eights have been coming up. 888, 88, 818. A lot of eights in the sinks. Let me know if you're getting eights right now. It's definitely been very strong. Belief systems, what do they say? Belief systems are BS sometimes, right? But in the present, we are working with mass consciousness and belief systems, and there are a lot of varying beliefs that are out there. And sometimes that's causing us to be divided from other people who we love, are connected to, but our belief systems have like maybe diverged. And so we have to be able to look to where we are willing to divide ourselves totally from others based on belief systems, because this is not healthy, because we are one unified being and consciousness structure, and any belief system that comes into play that tells us otherwise is incorrect. Or it's not that it's incorrect, because I guess you can have an experience of growth through that belief system. But if you can come into a unified consciousness, then things become easier, because you can see the other person as yourself and find the commonness instead of the dissonance, for one way to say it. As I'm looking at this card, I'm thinking about channeling that I saw on Allison Coe. She is a QHHT practitioner. I'll put the link to her video below. She talks about, I think it was maybe a year ago, there being this red haze over planet Earth. The perspective of the client that she was working with during the hypnosis session was in a future time and was seeing this red kind of haze. And this is like what it seems to me. There's a lot of anger and fear that would be represented in this. This face does not necessarily seem to be smiling, if you had to assign an energy of emotion to it. But I just think about that red haze. I'm going to have to go back and listen to what she says. I believe that she indicates that in like 2022 to 2023, then things, this red haze will increase, but then it will begin to dissipate. So I can only assume that this would be something, and as we are changing our belief systems, we will begin to experience less of the anger, fear, rage, and separation that red can connotate. So let's see here, 53. This is under the Earth experience, and let's see here. almost like it's breathing into here as well. And this doesn't have to be negative belief systems. These can be, red is about your root chakra, your foundation. So there's some things like my belief in unity consciousness and love and light as a natural frequency is part of these belief systems too. And I do build my foundations on that premise. So of course I need to be challenged to not just say everything that I've developed as a belief system is something that I need to hold on to. Being willing to move away from things even when they were the step we moved on to from a previous version. There's always steps higher and higher in terms of our consciousness and awareness. So it says here, there is a human tendency to cling to belief systems and rationalize them as facts without realizing that they are illusions. In fact, any construct of our minds, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, is an illusion and not representative of our true nature as aware consciousness beyond the human experience. This is seen as a unique human trait, one that obstructs our growth at every turn. Take a look at your belief systems and your view of the world. See them as constructs of ego rather than universal truths. Only one truth exists, that you are pure consciousness. Everything else is an illusion. In the commentary, belief systems are complex maps that we build within us that help us navigate our inner and outer worlds and create our view of reality. They are often formed unconsciously from early life experiences or past lives. They keep us feeling safe, but they also stop us from growing. On Earth, at this point in time, there is a high degree of attachment to our belief systems, and this keeps us in opposition to each other, as is seen in religious, political, and social conflicts. Personally, our belief systems keep us stuck. They stop us from loving ourselves, from growing, from take that into stride. And wow, that is a very, very thought-provoking, of course. And this is going to be one that I'm going to want to sit with, to feel through, again, rather than just trying to think my way through it. So I'm going to cut the deck here and we'll see what one last card wants to come supplement. Wow. Okay, here we go. Let me just pull it out. I love it. 86. 86 is a 14. 14 is my birthday, and it is, I love all of the representations of it. It speaks to me. And here we have our Pleiadian connection. And we have here the equal value philosophy, the Pleiades and the future. This looks so much like uh, dream catchers. It's almost like a fish or a Pisces here, seaweed even. We've got the yellow and green. I love this. There's so much to just really see. This speaks like very Native American to me, but I don't know what it is. It looks almost like a clock or a watch as well. And being that it's Libra season and we're in Libra's about the scales, it's about balance, it's about justice, and we are definitely dealing with the energy of inequality. So let us see where the Pleiadian future, so we've got two future energies surrounding this present space. 8 again with infinite, and 6 is even return, having enough to give and to receive in balance. So let us see what energy the Pleiadians of the future tense wish to share with us today. All right. Humans have gotten used to polarity and inequality. However, the Pleiadian philosophy of equal value sees all things as equal, such as gold and a stone. When they exchange with others, they do so from a place of equality, and the exchange becomes one from the heart rather than for profit or gain. This card asks you to examine your emotions about the fear of not having enough, the issue of fairness, the difference between wants and needs, and always wanting more. Equality of all things is a universal principle, but we must first heal our fear of lack before we can fully embrace this principle. Okay, ooh, that's good guidance. One of the ways that our root chakra is manipulated, it causes us to fear our survival, safety, security, our root chakra concerns. So, when you balance from within rather than reliant on external, uh, and that's very, very challenging to do because the odds are stacked against us economically in this particular incarnation experience, as we can see from wealth inequality. But we're changing that, and changing what we define as wealth has a lot to do with that as well. So in the commentary, it says, this card refers to an evolved time stream of the Pleiadian civilization. It is a time when polarity is exceptionally balanced. In a state such as this, there is no greed, competition, or consumer driven structure. The concept of economics is totally different. It is based on universal principles of neutrality and equality. The only exchange is one of energy rather than the illusionary money systems known on Earth. Beyond human structures that measure worth, there is a universal view that sees all beings in creation as equal. If this card came up in your reading, it could have several meanings. It may mean that you have a connection to this future Pleiadian time stream, and it is calling for you to look at your current attitudes and beliefs about lack, self-worth, and the abilities to give and receive. There might be a belief that you have, hidden or obvious, that is keeping you from manifesting abundance in its many forms in your life. It may also be asking you to transform your understanding of what value really means. Wow. Transform your belief systems about what value really means. I love this experience. Okay. The old polarized concept of economics is no longer working on the planet or in your personal life. It can only be transformed through your deep inner work. If you are absolutely certain this does not apply to you, then it could be that you are already embracing this concept of Pleiadian equal value, and this card is acknowledging it. Go within, connect with your higher self, and listen to the guidance about what this card means for you. All right. That's awesome. Beautiful deck. Beautiful reading. Just like pieces of the puzzle, it just comes down and is just perfect for this moment. I love this deck, the Galactic Heritage Cards. There'll be a link in the description box where you can purchase this. This is an affiliate link, and so it does generate a small amount of revenue that I can use to continue expanding the Viberarian Oracle card collection. And so please do connect with this deck, connect with your guides, and see where you have opportunity to move out of a belief system to be transformed into the new to you, new to me, right? But it's really not new. It's already there. We can actually undergo this and become our highest selves and know that, like, I love the phrase in Lakesh. which is a Mayan statement. It's like, I am another you. So the equal value of even namaste and saying to a person, I see the light in you as the light and reflection of the light in myself. I love that. It speaks so much to my Libra heart, and of course the heart of love that I have just for all beings here on this planet. Thank you for joining me for In the Cards, and we will connect again on this channel and out in the vibrations of space. Namaste.